In general, many berry pickers go missing each year in northern Sweden and across the border into Finland, in a region called Lapland. Some are lost for hours, some for days, and sometimes they are never found again, leaving the cases unsolved. In some scenarios, the circumstances are very strange. I picked out 3 unsolved cases I came across while diving into this topic. There are a lot of disappearances each year compared to Sweden and Finland's relatively small combined population of 16.2 million. Roughly 100 to 200 cases occur each year where a person picking berries in a forest becomes lost and is reported missing around Lapland. In late summer, on August 13th, 2010, a 38-year-old Thai man working in Finland to earn money picking berries was found dead in the forest of eastern Lapland. After being missing for 2.5 weeks, police said no crime appeared to be involved, but the circumstances are chilling. The man disappeared on July 26, after 3 days of berry picking. He was last seen around 9 p.m. on the side of the road, waiting for a ride to his lodging near the village of Kursu. His last phone contact with the other berry pickers was just before 9:30 p.m. They were supposed to pick him up, but then his phone went silent. So this one berry picker had been out foraging for 3 days. At the end of the 3rd day, he called one of his co-workers to come and pick him up. Towards the end of the call, he reportedly said he had to go because he thought some kind of animal was following him. Something large. Maybe a dog. When his friend went to the location to pick him up, he wasn't there anymore. No sign of him, and no answer on his phone. When he didn't turn up later, the police were called, and a manhunt began. After quite a long-drawn search involving a lot of people, soldiers eventually found the body roughly a mile from where he said he would be on that last call. The terrain is full of thick brush. You really had to look carefully to spot him, the investigator said. But many parts of this story don't add up. First is the location and condition of the body. The news reported that the body had been damaged by some kind of animal, but not enough to be ruled as the cause of death. Now, if we're supposed to believe that this man was dragged off by a wolf or a bear for over 1.5 miles, wouldn't the body have been in far worse condition? Several locals also claim that the wildlife in the area is relatively shy of people, making a wolf or bear attack unlikely. If it had been a bear, it would probably have buried its kill. If it had been wolves, they would have feasted until there was almost nothing left. Another strange point is the military involvement. Finnish soldiers worked side by side with police in this case. Originally, police had worked solely with the local berry picker to figure out what happened, but at some point the military stepped in and halted all cooperation with the pickers. Police were still trying to piece together his route and the timeline of events. How did a man vanish in broad daylight, only to later be found dead in such an isolated part of the forest? A woolen cap were also discovered in the yard of a house nearby. Police believed it belonged to the missing man, possibly carried there by a dog. Investigators revealed that the man had likely been dead for some time. The cause of death is still unknown, pending a forensic autopsy that was never released to the public. Oddly, there are no cliffs or high drops near where the body was found, ruling out a fall, the investigator said. Another oddity: why did they feel like they need to specifically rule out the possibility of him falling from a cliff, when there were none nearby? Did the injuries resemble those of someone who had fallen from a great height? That's impossible to explain on flat terrain. And then there is the woolen cap, supposedly brought back by a dog. But if a dog had really found the man, wouldn't it have fed on him? Why bring back only the cap? And why was the dog roaming alone, unleashed in the forest? Something doesn't add up. Another strange detail is a timeline. He was found 2.5 weeks after going missing. We don't know how long he had been dead before being discovered. But in that climate and time of year, large predators like bears, wolves, foxes, or even eagles can begin feeding on a body within hours if they detect it, especially if the body is exposed. After just 1 week, significant scavenger damage would normally be visible, and warmer temperatures would only speed up decomposition. And if he had been alive for most of those 2.5 weeks, why didn't he wander further? How could he not see, hear, or find the road, since he was found 1.5 miles from the nearest road? Was he walking in circles, or hiding from something? Well, probably we will never know. No official statement was ever released, and like so many other mysterious cases, this one just faded into silence. In early August 2025, Lapland, Sweden, a man in his 60s decided to head out into the woods in the far northern Sweden. Just a regular berry picking trip. This is something thousands of people do every summer in Sweden. Nothing strange about it, until it was. He was last seen on the 6th of August, and just a few days later his family realized something was wrong. On the 10th of August, he was officially reported missing. And here's where it gets eerie. His phone was found left behind in the cabin. And he had no phone, no GPS, and there was no way to track him. Police launched a massive search. We're talking helicopters scanning the skies, K9 units, drones, the Home Guard, national security forces, and even volunteers combing the thick forest. The area they search, roughly 40 square kilometers of wild, unforgiving terrain. If you've ever been in those forests, you know how easy it is to get lost. And still nothing. Not a jacket, not a backpack, not a single clue that could have proved where he went. At least something should have been found. An animal attack would have left ripped clothes or scattered bones behind. Still, a bear could have buried the body for later consuming. Then there's roughly 1 bear attack per year in the whole country. Fatal bear attacks are extremely rare in Sweden. Brown bears are shy and generally avoid humans, and the vast majority of encounters do not lead to an attack. At one point, search teams did discover tracks, footprints in the ground that they described as interesting. But here's the catch. They couldn't confirm they actually belonged to him. Imagine that. The only possible lead, and it fades into uncertainty. Was it really him? Or someone else wandering through the same wilderness? Did he encounter a malicious person out in the forest? Or maybe a hunter who accidentally shot him and then hid the body? Just speculation, but it has happened before. After more than a week of searching, the police announced that the active operation was being called off. They had done everything they could. The case was handed back to Norrbotten police for follow-up, but no new official updates have ever surfaced. And that's it. A man, a simple berry-picking trip, and then silence. So, what happened here? Did he get injured deep in the woods and couldn't make it out? Did sudden illness strike him down far from help? Or did he become disoriented, walking in circles until the cold nights took their toll? Strangely enough, there wasn't a single sign of him anywhere. It's as if the forest just swallowed him whole. These things happens way too often. It reminds me of David Paulides' missing 411 cases from the Canada Missing Project here on YouTube. I searched the internet but couldn't find anything more about this case. It is fairly recent, but If something shows up, I leave an update on it in another video. In the fall of 2022, a 67-year-old woman from Kauhava, Finland, went out for what should have been a simple, peaceful day of berry picking in the forest. Like thousands of others every year, she set out into the Finnish wilderness, basket in hand, ready to gather the season's harvest. But something went terribly wrong. She never returned home. Her family, growing increasingly worried, reported her missing just a few days later. What was meant to be a quiet day in nature had turned into a full-blown disappearance. Authorities immediately launched a massive search. Police, volunteers, and search teams scoured the dense forest, combing over every possible path she might have taken. The Finnish wilderness is beautiful, yes, but also very vast, remote, and unforgiving. Hours turn into days, and days into weeks. And finally, some personal belongings were discovered, including a pair of boots. But police have not confirmed whether they belong to her. DNA tests are still pending, though, leaving investigators and her family with no solid answers. Despite exhaustive efforts, no further trace of her was ever found. Why was there a pair of boots that were found? Nobody takes off their boots and keeps walking around in the forest barefoot. And then there were other belongings that, strangely enough, were never mentioned what they were. The whole thing just seems strange. How can there be no trace of the body? Is this maybe another case where the family doesn't want the full story to be made public? Or is it simply an unexplained mystery that will never be solved? To this day, the case remains unsolved. Did she get lost in the thick undergrowth? Did she suffer an accident or a sudden medical emergency? Or is there something more mysterious at play? A vanishing into the forest so complete that even search dogs and teams could not detect her presence. This story serves as a chilling reminder. Even a simple day in the forest can turn very dangerous. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, that's impressive. Hope you found it as fascinating as I do. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think of these stories. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.